Have you guys ever wondered what these numbers mean when you inspect the weapon skin? Finish style tells us how the skin would have been made IRL, and finish catalog tells us which skin line it belongs to. Then for pattern template, which for most skins doesn't really matter, but for something like a case hardened karambit it makes all the difference. The pattern template can range from 0 to 999, and a karambit of any of these patterns are worth hundreds of thousands if not $1 million, while the rest could be as low as $1,000 even in factory new. And that brings us to the last property that skins have, the wear rating, also known as the float, which tells us how much of the skin is scratched off. If this number is close to 1, that means that it is very worn down, while a number close to 0 means that the skin is pretty much in perfect condition. And depending on what float your skin has, it could be worth a lot of extra money. I think we all know that some weapons in Counter-Strike have rare inspect animations, but did you know there's an extra hidden feature? For the Desert Eagle, the regular inspect animation looks like this, and the rare inspect animation looks like this. But if you hold down your inspect key while you have the rare animation going, it will keep the deagle spinning. This also works for the Talon and falchion knives, but I've been told that the falchion knife animation is very rare. With the release of CS2, there is also a new drop system for the game, and it can get you some very pricey items. All you have to do is level up by playing CS2 games, and once you do, on the home screen you will be given 4 options where you can pick 2 to keep. For the best value, you should never pick the graffiti. The case can range from a snakebite case to the weapons case 1, and these weapons will usually be cheap, but I've seen some people get some pretty decent skins this way. These drops are limited to once a week, and the only condition for the drops is that you have a few levels and have purchased Prime on your account. Wear rating, also known as float, is something people might overlook when they get a new weapon skin. But if you have a weapon with a float close to 0 or 1, then it could be valued at a lot more than what the skin is typically worth. For example, the Desert Eagle print stream is usually sold around $95, but if I search for the skins with the lowest floats, that's the ones closest to the number 0, they are being listed for $132. That's because when you get a weapon skin, the float is completely random. So getting a number that is very small is rare, and so it is more valuable. This also works for very high floats, or those that are close to 1. And this could actually make the skin look more interesting, such as with the AWP Asimov. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but some floats can be ridiculous. For context, every weapon skin has a float, and these numbers are completely random. Although floats range from 0 to 1, most skins have a limit on which numbers they can be. For example, these shiny Doppler knives can only exist with a float between 0 and 0.08. Even with that said, there are some truly insane floats. This website shows us the lowest floats in the entire world, and apart from the first one, they are all obtained by opening cases. And here are all the highest float skins in the world. Just look at the price listed for some of these skins. I'm not sure if they're worth a few thousand, but certainly a few hundred. Pretty cool. If I get a battle-scarred skin, usually I'm pretty sad, but this is one skin I'm hoping to get in a high float. This is an AWP Asimov, and here is what's known as an AWP Blackamov. I've mentioned before that having high float skins can drastically change how a skin looks, though usually this just makes the skin look scratched up and quite hideous. But for the AWP Asimov, it can make it a whole new skin. When this skin is obtained at a very high float, the scope of the gun can be completely black, making it very unique and worth a few extra dollars. What do you guys think of the AWP Blackamov? This guy got scammed but ended up with free skins? Back in the day, if you got scammed and were able to prove it, then Steam would restore your skins to your account. However, something must have really messed up, because the skin that ended up in this player's inventory was something special. It's a vanilla karambit, but not just any vanilla karambit, one that has a float of exactly 0, which you cannot get normally in game. Now there are skins with very low floats, but none that are exactly 0. And this knife is also missing the star that regular knives have in their name, so it's one of a kind and we will probably never see a skin like this again. With CS2 being released a few weeks ago, and it being a new game, sorta, it's changed how a lot of skins look. Before the Doppler and the Gamma Doppler skins, they now look fabulous. Doppler skins are ones that are dependent on the patterns, so every time you see a Doppler, it can look a little different. But CS2 has made them all extra shiny, and they sorta look like crystals, and are way brighter than their cs2 versions, and because of that, their prices also increase. What do you guys think of these new Dopplers? If you are looking to buy your own house and are feeling very lucky, then an interesting way you could pay for it is by playing a little bit of Counter-Strike. You see, if you get your hands on one of these cases and then buy a key to open it, you have a chance of getting a factory new StatTrak case hardened AK, and if the top of the gun is blue enough, then it could be worth easily over $1 million. That's an absolutely insane price for some pixels. And that's not even the only way you can get this skin. So, how rare is a knife? We all know that pulling a knife is one of the best feelings you can get in Counter-Strike, but you might not know how difficult it is to actually accomplish. Let's start from the bottom. The chance of a purple is a bit over 1 in 6 cases, a pink is over 1 in 31 cases, a red is about 1 in 156, and finally golds are expected to appear 1 in 391. That means you need to open almost 400 cases to expect to get one knife or gloves. And this isn't even guaranteed, as Counter-Strike does not have a pity system at all, so it's safe to say that opening cases is not a good financial investment. If you guys are ever thinking about opening cases in Counter-Strike, then this is something you need to know. There is a stat called ROI, which tells you how much money you expect to get back if you open a bunch of cases, and profit percent, which tells us the chance of profiting on every individual case opening. So currently, for something like Operation Vanguard's weapons case, you could expect to make 62% of your money back in the long run, and have a 7% chance of profiting each time you open one of these cases. And for the hobby enthusiast, you would want these numbers to be as large as possible. There are plenty of websites such as this one that will show you the statistics like this. But in the end, it's all a game of chance, so don't spend money you cannot afford to lose. These are worth over $50,000 and it's just 2 items in CS2. But what are they and why are they so expensive? The $30,000 item is the EMS Cato 2014 Challengers capsule, and this is a $20,000 Legends capsule from the same release. You see, they are sticker capsules, which gives you accessories you can apply to your weapons. But what makes them so expensive is that they contain stickers with teams that do not exist anymore or are banned. They were released almost 10 years ago, so naturally they are scarce, but these are still sought after by the CS community, so over the years the price has just kept increasing. The stickers obtained from these capsules are some of the most legendary items in Counter-Strike history. So, this is something you should always consider before you buy a knife, and it's how the play side of the knife looks. So when the player is holding the knife in game, only one side can be seen, i.e. the play side, and it's pretty easy to tell which side is which. When you inspect the knife outside of a game, it will show you the play side first, before slowly flipping over if you let the animation linger. This is true except for the Karambit, Talon, and Nomad knives, which do the exact opposite. Some knives also have their skin mirrored on both sides, so this detail won't matter on them. Souvenir packages used to be free drops that you would get by watching pro games on Twitch, and if you opened it, you could get a skin fully fitted with stickers. It's a pretty cool collector's item, but something you must never open. The reason for this is that the odds are incredibly bad. Souvenir collections add 2 lower tier items, and this makes the more valuable items even harder to get. Like red items in cases have a 1 in 156 chance, but for souvenir packages, a red is expected to appear 1 in 3,756 items, which is 24 times less likely. So yeah, if you get a souvenir package, do not open it. You will most likely get nothing good.